Human history is full of civilizations that rose and fell, kingdoms that ruled, and empires that vanished. But among these stories, one stands out as extraordinary. It began in the deserts of Arabia, far from the great cities of Rome, Persia, or China. A revelation that transformed not only the lives of a people, but also the destiny of the entire world.
This is the story of Islam, its birth, its struggles, its golden age, its decline, and its enduring influence on humanity. Stay with us as we journey through 14 centuries of faith, knowledge, and power. This is the great history of Islam. The Arabian Peninsula of the 6th century was a land of extremes. Harsh deserts and scorching sun defined its landscape. The people were divided into tribes, living by honor, loyalty, and poetry. Mecca was the heart of trade, its Kaaba a sacred sanctuary visited by thousands every year. But Arabia was also plagued with conflict. Tribal wars could last decades. Inequality and injustice dominated society. Women had little status. The poor and slaves had no rights. Religion was fragmented, with hundreds of idols surrounding the Kaaba. It was into this world, in the year 570, that a child named Muhammad ibn Abdullah Amay was born. His early life was marked by hardship. Orphaned before the age of 6, he grew up under the care of his uncle Abu Talib. Despite poverty, young Muhammad became known for his honesty and trustworthiness. People called him Al-Amin, the trustworthy. As he matured, he became a successful merchant. At the age of 25, he married Khadija, a wealthy and noble businesswoman who recognized his integrity. Together, they built a family of love and respect. But Muhammad was no ordinary man. For years, he would withdraw to the cave of Hira, seeking solitude and reflection. And then, at the age of 40, his life and the course of history changed forever. One night, the angel Jibril appeared to him with a command, "Iqra, read." Terrified, Muhammad replied, "I cannot read." The command came again, and then once more. This was the first revelation of the Quran. In that moment, a prophet was chosen, and the words that descended would become the guiding light for billions. Muhammad's message was simple, yet revolutionary. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. He called for the worship of one God, for justice to the oppressed, and equality among all people, rich and poor, Arab and non-Arab, slave and free. But this message threatened the Quraysh leaders of Mecca, who profited from idol worship and tribal divisions. They mocked him, persecuted his followers, and even plotted to kill him. For years, Muslims endured hardship. Some were tortured, others killed. The Prophet himself faced insults, isolation, and attempts on his life. Yet he stood firm. In 622, Muhammad and his followers made the Hijrah, the migration to Medina. This marked not just a new chapter for Islam, but the birth of a new civilization. In Medina, Muhammad became not only a spiritual guide, but also a statesman. He established treaties between tribes, created a constitution that guaranteed rights for Muslims and non-Muslims alike, and built a society founded on faith and justice. Battles followed, Badr, Uhud, and the Trench, where Muslims, though often outnumbered, held firm with courage and faith. And after years of struggle, the Prophet returned to Mecca, not as a conqueror, but as a bringer of peace. He forgave his enemies, cleansed the Kaaba of idols, and restored it to the worship of one God. By the time of his passing in 6032, Muhammad I had united almost all of Arabia under Islam. His final sermon reminded humanity all mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab over an Arab, except by piety and good action. His life ended, but his mission had only just begun. After the Prophet's death, leadership passed to the caliphs, the Khulafa al-Rashidun, or rightly guided caliphs. The first was Abu Bakr, who preserved unity at a time when tribes threatened to abandon Islam. He oversaw the first compilation of the Quran and defended the faith with courage. Next came Umar ibn al-Khattab. Under his leadership, Islam spread beyond Arabia into Syria, Egypt, Iraq, and Persia. He established justice so firmly that people said, even if a mule stumbled in Iraq, Umar would fear being asked by God why he had not paved the road for it. Uthman ibn Affan, the third caliph, oversaw the expansion of the empire and commissioned the standard written text of the Quran, ensuring its preservation across generations. Finally, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet, became caliph. Known for his wisdom, Ali guided with fairness, though his rule was marked by civil strife and tragedy. This short period, from 632 to 6061, was filled with challenges, but it laid the foundations of Islamic governance, law, and justice. After Ali's death, the caliphate passed to the Umayyads, who moved the capital to Damascus. They ruled a vast empire stretching from Spain to India. Their achievements included roads, coinage, and administrative systems that connected people of different cultures and languages. Yet, their rule also faced criticism for focusing too much on politics and dynasty. In 750, the Abbasids took power, moving the capital to Baghdad. Under their leadership, the Islamic world entered its golden age. Baghdad became a center of trade and knowledge, where scholars from all backgrounds, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Persian, and Indian, worked together. Libraries like the House of Wisdom translated ancient texts into Arabic. Science, medicine, astronomy, philosophy, and art flourished. Thinkers like Al-Khwarizmi gave us algebra, Ibn Sina advanced medical science, and Al-Biruni studied the earth and heavens. It was a time when learning was sacred and knowledge was a form of worship. As the Abbasid capital of Baghdad thrived, the message of Islam was reaching lands far beyond Arabia. Through trade, travel, and scholarship, the faith and its culture spread across continents. In the West, Islam entered the Iberian Peninsula, modern-day Spain and Portugal. This land came to be known as Al-Andalus. For nearly 800 years, Muslim rulers governed here, creating one of the most advanced societies of medieval Europe. Cities like Córdoba and Granada became centers of art, architecture, and knowledge. Libraries in Córdoba held hundreds of thousands of books at a time when most of Europe's libraries had only a few hundred. Scholars in Al-Andalus translated Greek and Roman works into Arabic, preserving them for future generations. The stunning Alhambra Palace and the great Mosque of Córdoba still stand as testaments to that era's architectural brilliance. And most importantly, Muslims, Christians, and Jews often lived side by side, exchanging ideas and enriching each other's cultures. This spirit of coexistence was rare for the time. In Africa, Islam traveled across the Sahara Desert with merchants and scholars. Great empires like Mali and Songhai embraced Islam, blending it with local traditions. In the city of Timbuktu, madrasas and libraries flourished, making it a beacon of learning. The famous ruler Mansa Musa, remembered as one of the wealthiest men in history, made a legendary pilgrimage to Mecca in the 14th century. His caravan was said to stretch as far as the eye could see, and the gold he distributed changed entire economies along his route. Meanwhile, in Asia, Islam spread peacefully through merchants and Sufi mystics. In the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, and the Indonesian archipelago, Islam became deeply rooted, not by conquest, but through trade, kindness, and spiritual teachings. Today, Indonesia remains the most populous Muslim country in the world, a legacy of this peaceful spread. No great civilization grows without facing challenges. By the 11th century, Europe was emerging from the Dark Ages. The Christian world looked to reclaim the Holy Land, Jerusalem, then under Muslim rule. Thus began the Crusades, a series of holy wars launched by European powers between the 11th and 13th centuries. Armies marched from Europe into the Middle East, clashing with Muslim defenders. The First Crusade captured Jerusalem in 1099, leading to widespread bloodshed. But over the next 2 centuries, Muslim leaders fought back. Among them rose Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, known in the West as Saladin. His chivalry and honor became legendary. In 1187, he recaptured Jerusalem, yet unlike the Crusaders before him, he spared the city's inhabitants, allowing Christians and Jews to live peacefully. The Crusades left scars, but they also brought exchange. Europeans encountered the advanced medicine, science, and architecture of the Muslim world. Through this contact, knowledge began flowing back into Europe, sowing the seeds of the Renaissance. But as the Crusades waned, another storm approached from the east, one far more devastating than any before. In the 13th century, the world witnessed the unstoppable rise of the Mongols led by Genghis Khan. Fierce warriors from the steppes of Central Asia, they built the largest land empire in history. For the Islamic world, the Mongols brought destruction on an unimaginable scale. In 1258, under Hulu Khan, Mongol armies stormed Baghdad, the once great capital of the Abbasids. The shining jewel of the Muslim world was reduced to ashes. Thousands were killed, libraries burned, and the House of Wisdom destroyed. Many thought it was the end of Islamic civilization. Yet history had another twist. Over time, the conquerors themselves became conquered by the message of Islam. The Mongols in Persia and Central Asia converted to Islam, adopting its culture and contributing to its revival. This resilience, this ability of Islam to absorb, adapt, and endure, became one of its defining traits. Out of devastation, new centers of power would emerge. From the 14th century onward, 3 great Muslim empires shaped the destiny of the world: the Ottomans, the Mughals, and the Safavids. The Ottoman Empire, founded by Osman I, grew from a small Anatolian state into a vast empire spanning Europe, Asia, and Africa. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed Sikid captured Constantinople, renaming it Istanbul. This marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottomans as a world power. Under leaders like Suleiman the Magnificent, the empire flourished, its laws, architecture, and culture influencing the world for centuries. The grand mosques of Istanbul, with their towering minarets and breathtaking domes, still awe visitors today. In India, the Mughal Empire created a legacy of art, architecture, and cultural blending. Akbar the Great promoted tolerance and dialogue among religions, while Shah Jahan built the Taj Mahal, one of the world's greatest wonders, as a symbol of love. Mughal art, poetry, and cuisine left a lasting mark, not just on India, but on the world. Meanwhile, in Persia, the Safavid Empire rose, establishing Shia Islam as the state religion. They fostered unique art, carpets, calligraphy, and philosophy. The city of Isfahan became known as half the world for its beauty and splendor. Together, these empires were not only military powers but also cultural and intellectual centers, carrying the flame of Islamic civilization into the modern age. By the 18th and 19th centuries, however, cracks began to appear. Internal struggles, corruption, and slow adaptation to technological change weakened the once mighty Muslim empires. At the same time, European powers, armed with new weapons, sciences, and industrial might, rose to dominance. Colonization spread across the Muslim world. The British in India and Egypt, the French in North Africa, the Dutch in Indonesia, one by one Muslim lands came under foreign control. The Ottomans, once feared, became known as the sick man of Europe. By World War I, their empire collapsed. and European powers carved up much of the Middle East. New borders were drawn, often without regard for history or culture, creating divisions that still affect the world today. Yet, even under colonization, the spirit of Islam did not fade. Scholars, reformers, and freedom fighters arose, calling for renewal and independence. Movements of resistance grew, laying the groundwork for the nations we see today. Today, Islam is the world's second largest religion, with nearly 2 billion followers across every continent. From the bustling streets of Jakarta to the deserts of Arabia, from the mosques of Istanbul to the cities of Europe and America, Islam remains a living, breathing faith. The contributions of Muslims continue in science, art, politics, and culture. In medicine, technology, and education, Muslim voices are shaping the modern world. Yet challenges remain: conflicts, misunderstandings, and the struggle for unity in a rapidly changing global society. But the legacy of Islam is not only in its past glories. It is in the Quran recited in millions of homes each day. It is in the charity given to the poor, the fasts of Ramadan, the prayers in mosques worldwide. It is in the values of justice, knowledge, and compassion that still guide believers. The history of Islam is not a story of the past alone. It is a story that continues, alive, dynamic, and enduring. From the deserts of Arabia to the palaces of Spain, from Baghdad's golden libraries to Istanbul's soaring mosques, from the struggles of colonization to the voices of today, Islam's story is vast, complex, and powerful. It is a reminder that faith can unite people, that knowledge can change civilizations, and that resilience can overcome even the darkest of times.